Ladakh, the barren land of 4,000 meters above sea level where no grass grows. The Himalayas brought life to the thirsty land of Ladakh. Ladakh is a land of purity that has kept its own story for thousands of years. There are people who have maintained their own way of life, appreciating the small things nature gives them. Ladakh is located in northwest India, facing India's borders along with Tibet and Pakistan. Ladakh in Tibetan means a place with many valleys, and the road to it is as rough as its name. This is Chilling Hill at an altitude of 3,550 meters. On our first journey to Ladakh, we met some 600 pilgrims.
मनाली से नेपाल से आए वैसे तो हम लोग लाहौल से दिलबुरी से पैदल आ रहे हैं तो अब हम लोग हेमिस टिश्यू तक वहाँ पर पहुँचेंगे।
हेमिस में क्या हो रहा है?
हेमिस फेस्टिवल में हम लोग वहाँ पर पहुँचेंगे।
और कितने दिन और जाएंगे?
और एक हफ्ता और जाएंगे।
The road, which is covered with snow for 8 months out of the year, is not accessible until summer. In July, pilgrims who want to visit the Buddhist culture of Ladakh will be the first to walk down the road. The final destination for pilgrims who have walked for about a month is the largest Buddhist temple in Ladakh. It is a place where traditional Buddhist culture is preserved to the extent that a large-scale Buddhist festival is held every July. For the pilgrims, the road to Ladakh is a special journey to their spiritual homeland. Ladakh, also called Small Tibet, is where Tibetan Buddhism has taken root for more than 1,000 years. The Buddhist teachings that emphasize frugality and non-possession are fully reflected in people's lives. They say they feel happy in nature that is not rich in resources. On the basis of this, the Buddhist spirit is alive. The Ladakh people wrote Buddhist scriptures on 5 colored flags to pray for salvation and for the happiness of the afterlife. This is the only way to the village where they live. To get to the village, you have to cross this huge valley created by the Himalayan glacier. A manual cable car made by the Ladakh people is the only way to get through. A desolate land 4,000 meters above sea level. There were people living here, and it is hard to breathe. Water from the melting Himalayan glaciers gave them land to cultivate. By this small stream of water, people had made rice paddies, and grain is growing in the ground. Eight months of the year are negative 40 degrees. Because of this, there is not much time for harvest and farming. But for many years, the Ladakh people have lived with the same amount of nature as it is. Their main stock, which are self-sufficient in harsh climates, are a barley flour and some vegetables called nampi. This couple recommends these foods to strangers. In the winter, when farming is not available, Ladakh men spend most of their leisure time making traditional teacups. This is another way of continuing tradition for those who drink traditional tea, called solja.
अभी यहाँ पे जो अभी हम लोग मार जाएगा ना बच्चा लोग फिर यहाँ पे बैठेगा फिर बच्चे के बच्चा बैठ जाएगा
The Ladakh people get everything they need from nature on their own. In higher places where grain does not grow at all, livestock is raised, which plays an important role in the lives of the Ladakh people. It goes down to minus 20 degrees at night here, even in summer. For people suffering from extreme cold all year round, the livestock provides warm fur for clothing. When people make their own threads from wool and weave them together, a traditional costume called patu is completed. The wind of change is also blowing in Ladakh, which has long been out of reach with civilization. Ladakh is an area that the Indian government considers very important militarily. Construction has been underway on the Himalayan mountain road to transport supplies to military units stationed there. The Kardung La Road, which runs from Kazakhstan to India, is the world's highest road. Zanskar Hill, starting at 3,500 meters above sea level and runs to 7,000 meters. People have recently begun to gather here, which is also part of the remote region in Ladakh. People who have a different appearance from those of this area have arrived. They are workers from the Bihar province, one of the poorest in India. People from low-lying areas in eastern India gathered here to build the world's tallest road. Since it is difficult to mobilize heavy equipment, everything is done manually except for digging of rocks from the rock wall.
$16
16-year-old Masur, who has been working here for 5 months, came here for the livelihood of his family.
नहीं यही काम कभी दियाल में पड़ता है कभी ढलाई में
150 workers work 8 hours a day to make 100 meters of road. The area has a set amount of construction work of about 9 kilometers per year. Workers are required to stay here until they finish the work set for each year. The place where workers are currently working is 4,000 meters above sea level. As the work progresses, the altitude will increase. For the Bihar people born and raised in warm lowlands, working here is a struggle against human limitations.
ठंड तो है सर क्या करेंगे निकालना तो पड़ता है दिन
Workers live together in barracks down the mountain during construction. They can earn about $100 a month, minus the cost of accommodations.
नहीं आएंगे, घर में कुछ तो करना ही होगा। इधर आके जो बिचून है वो लगाएंगे, जो इच्छे जो जोंडरा उंडरा है, जो इच्छे गेहूँ लगा रहा है इधर, वो लगाएंगे घर में।
Leh was a reclusive city that caught the eyes of Westerners who felt the limits of material civilization. It was no longer the pure city they were longing for. With the influx of tourists and frequent inter-city traffic, Ladakh is changing rapidly. These changes have also changed the lives of people who have lived so long with their traditions. Mr. Satan drives a taxi in Leh. He was a farmer in the remote village of Ladakh 5 years ago.
बाहर से निकाल के
He is said to have abandoned everything and moved to the city.
सिटी में इसलिए आया है जी, गांव में तो आबादी कम है, फिर सिटी में आने से सिटी में थोड़ा कम ज़्यादा मिलता है, कोई टूरिस्ट को ले जाना है, फिर कहीं दूसरों घरों का भी काम मिल जाता है जी, दूसरा हमारा साथी लोग भी गाड़ी में चलता है, तो इस करके सिटी में थोड़ा कमाई ज़्यादा है, गांव में कमाई कम है जी, इसलिए आए।
Ladakh people have lived in the harsh environment with infinite happiness. What will the future look like for Ladakh, a land that is rapidly changing with man-made desires?